Hello there. I'm really excited to come to you with my very first sketchbook tour flip through. I love watching other people's tours and flip throughs, and I hope that someone else will feel inspired and do one of their own, because we just need to see what's inside of your brain and what comes out of your soul. And I started art journaling as a practice in June of 2024, so I'm fairly new at it, and this is my first completed. I love that feeling. And I am a person who likes to work in multiple at one time, so I've started all of these, and I'm just starting to get to the point where I can see the finished product of these different ones. And so these are the two we're going to flip through. These are for another day, and we're going to go ahead and go top down so you can see. But let's go. Yay. All right, so here we go. This is my first tour, sketchbook tour, and my first finished art journal, which I'm pretty proud of, even though it's very much a beginner work, and it shows how much maturity has come into play since I started this particular one in December of 2024, but my first sketchbook ever was started in June of 2024. So you'll definitely see the onset of figuring out that I'm a mixed media girl. And there's some really bad beginnings. I'm beginning to find my voice. We'll say beginnings. There is some fun things to be found in here, though. I just figured out that there's some things that end up repeating over time, and that's nature and flowers and birds. Definitely a vivid color. I started out being somebody who just did doodles in my journals and planners, and kind of made them, not a little bit of realism, but more impressionist, but also like detailed enough that you could see skill. But this was definitely more. I didn't know, this was the first time I used the oil pastels, and it actually bled all the way over onto this page because I didn't know what I was doing. But this was so flat compared to when I put that vivid color on there, and I just loved it so much. And so I definitely can see growth and a little bit of maturity through these multiple books. And I definitely feel like that for myself, that the experimentation is there. I don't know what my taste is yet. I don't know what my style is. And I'm a novelist. And when we talk about voice in writing, they say every storyline boils down to 8 basic stories, 8 basic story premises, and that the variation is actually you, the author, the creator. And so I think that's what this is starting to show me. There's the same, everyone paints the prerequisite flowers and the scenic, this was someone else's art. It definitely felt like someone else's art. I knew when I painted it that I painted it like someone else's, and I definitely felt that. I did this. I was so proud of it for perspective, since I did this in a 5-minute sketch real quick, and then I came back in and did some pen and wash on it, which is what I'm used to doing. And I write historical romance, so that's kind of fun. This is definitely, my bookmark was in the middle. I was like, what's that black line? Campfire from camping, and when we were out and about, and flame and fire is kind of hard to do. This is something I would do on a regular basis in my planners, and I would call this mark making. And I use handwriting, where conscious flow of thought writing is actually just like a place where I find rest and kind of like debrief from the day, and actually gain a lot of perspective in myself. And I kind of like how it looks after a while. And this was before I experienced my first impression of morning pages, which I did a whole video on. And that was a huge impact on me to do morning pages. But like I said, I started out doing just pen and wash, watercolor with pen. And even today, I just got this in the mail, and I'm actually really excited to try it because it's a waterproof ink that you can use with the paintbrush and pen, fill up your cartridges and stuff like that. I wonder what the container looks like. Isn't that part of the fun? Ooh, so satisfying. Okay, we'll set that right here. Go buy this ink. Yeah, so pen and wash with new discovery of media all the time. And then I definitely went to an art store with my dad for my birthday last year. Today's actually my birthday. It's July 15th, 2026, but in July of 2025, I went with my dad and I got this white. This has been a game changer to have an opaque white that I can use and have it sit on top. Yeah, so continuing visual language like the flowers, the birds, and the faces. You'll see me attempt faces, and I actually really enjoy doing that. I would say that I'm just beginning to find my voice, and I definitely like mark making and writing. Like, I like to put quotes in there and, you know, some of that stuff. But my ultimate goal is to just improve. I want to do 10,000 hours before I judge myself as an artist or not, right? Like 10,000 hours, 10,000 paintings, I will never count. It's just the idea of going. That's why I filled up so many. I'm working out of so many sketchbooks because the paper is different. The art looks different in them. The parameters of the page, big, little, small, it all changes it. And I find that to be part of the process that I'm enjoying. And my mom, the year that we lost her, she was being really reflective. And she said that at the end of her life, she was actually really pleasantly surprised with the things that she was most proud of. And she thought it would be different, but it ended up being the things that she just didn't quit, that she continued to do and worked on. So that's kind of what I want to do too. I just want to, no, I'm not going to school for this. I have no plans of being, selling my prints or making money off of it. Like I do that with my novels, and I do that with some of the other things that I'm invested in as an entrepreneur and a, lover of the arts. But this is just for me, and I just want to see the progress and enjoy the beautiful things. So no school. I learned by watching other people. That's one of the things I can actually feel like I can grow in, is because it's kind of like watching cooking videos. You can pick up the recipe and what they're doing, or you can see how they handle their tools in the kitchen and see how they come together. And that's actually been the joy for me, is to learn about tone and value and composition and contrast and stuff like that through watching, I call it poor man's education, good old YouTube, for many, many free lessons, and just watching people handle it. I wanted the learning to be fun. I do have a few artist textbooks that I've read and dabbled in, but I kind of tend to learn that hard way for my novel writing. And so I kind of want to keep this stuff playful and light and loose. And, everybody's talking about loose, which I didn't know what that meant before. And I do think that's one of the things that comes easy, because this isn't my primary craft. I kind of come to this at the end of the day for a sense of downtime, stillness. I catch my breath. It definitely impacts my nervous system. It gives me that calm feeling. So yeah, I just have really enjoyed. It makes me look at, the different mixed media. This was one of my first attempts at adding like paper media in there. And I actually don't mind doing a tiny bit, but I don't think that's my thing. And it's funny how you can kind of know, like, the way I engaged with that versus the way I engaged with making marks and doing, even if it's not quite your wheelhouse. Like, I would say this isn't my wheelhouse, but I sure enjoyed making it. So, but checking out the different media and testing things, experimenting, all of that, it's just super fun. So, so I did all different kinds of art, flowers, like I said, little writing in there, some different pieces. My garden, all of my life has like a canvas feel to it. I kind of have a tendency to do my garden, the way I do my makeup, the way I dress, earrings. I do a lot of thrifting and eBay resale of costume jewelry. So the jewelry is actually almost like a media also. Same with the palette of my garden. And I kind of like the way I see it. And I'm enjoying the discovery that concept makes your eyes see even what you're painting a little bit different. So yeah, I do like this. Again, this is like what I would call mark making, where you get in there just to use your materials and to feel it in your hand and get a little messy on your fingers. And some of it feels, like there's a resistance on the paper, and some of it's slickery and smooth, and some glides. And the way that ink and water and all that move. I've tried to do plein air a couple times, but I end up wishing I had a flat surface to work from and that I could have more to grab from, because I definitely like to have lots of media at my fingertips at the same time. So there's that. And then I'm going to do this one too, because I was so new when I started that I didn't know that the watercolor books that you get that are like, you know, glued or pressed together with a sealant on one end wouldn't stay together. Like they pop out really easy. So this is a bunch of loose ones, and we'll just look at them each one at a time, because this is in the same time period as my first ones. And so, yeah, you know, another experience that I was doing, besides getting a little bit better at some of the stuff that's so embarrassingly bad when you're bad at it, is figuring out how to have the confidence to do gift giving. I've actually done a couple of portraits to try to look like people, and they're not good yet, but they are definitely better than they were. And to be able to confidently give them, I gave one as a bereavement gift this year. I've been making like cards for people, and I actually right now I'm in the process of painting on like a regular card that I pick up when I'm thrifting for my granddaughter. She's a little 18-month-old, so I painted over what it said in here, and I'm going to paint and draw and use this as a outside piece for a gift, right? Like that's pretty fun. And so yeah, I'm just learning. Yesterday I actually used spray sealant on pastel chalks, and the whole artwork basically disappeared. And I found that to be very entertaining. It was sad, but also you got to learn it, right? You got to learn what's, you know, there's a piece that's beautiful, what's beautiful to me, and then also the useful, you know. But there is something meditative about it. That's definitely, I kind of will use it at the end of a day. And those of who have been live with me on my live, you'll hear me catch my breath and settle in. And I actually sometimes start to hum and sing, and I can definitely feel my nervous system settle down. It's so funny because some of these are so not my favorite. Like, it's so distinct. I always hear people say that, like, this is my favorite, this isn't. And I'm like, well, it's beautiful to me. And now it's my turn. So I definitely feel that. I'm looking forward to continued experimentation and to watch the maturing happen. It's definitely created some deep creativity for me, like the reset has. I live on a busy road, so please forgive the background noise. I can't help it. It's going to always be there. And I'm just recently starting to look into like what kind of, I'm definitely not a realist, says she. And these are so new. I feel like I can look at these and see the skill set having improved. I definitely know what overworked is, or, you know, 2-dimensional versus 3. This is 2-dimensional for me. And, but I still like that I have done it. Does that matter to anyone else? If this is what you feel like when you do your art, to have done the art is so, to look back at it, it's, I don't know, when they talk about romanticizing your life and catching the, you know, slow factor, I think this is it. I know that in the UK, they're starting to prescribe art classes for people because they're valuing it as much as what you diet and what you eat, your nutrition and exercise, is to engage all the facets of your creativity, because hand to paper, hand to handwriting, all of it creates from a different place. That was the cover of an art book that I was inspired by. Yes, and it's also incredibly, I remember where I was when I painted some of these. Ooh, I like this one. I've forgotten this one. Look at that setting. And I know I like it because of the vivid colors. Look at that. So that's pastels. And I did a scene. So it's got watercolor and pastels on this paper. This paper was a little harder to work with. So, and that was another thing. Like, papers are not all created equal. For sure. So, and I just feel like I'm slowly finding my voice. I still don't know what it is, but it's got to be distinctly me. And I think the voice is like in writing, where you just grow a little and get a little better all the time. Can you tell that that's a waterfall? I'm not sure you can. But Yeah, there's so, like even telling you about it, there's just so much understanding that I can tell that I've gained, and definitely have some inexperienced pieces in here. But even that, like that's part of the reason why I'm trying to catch it from the beginning, is because there's progress. Yes, he's so cute. Look at him. He's peeking out there. Oh, these were loose papers. I was trying some papers that I had purchased in a whole stack. And yeah, so these are just loose. And this was the alcohol inks. I wanted to see how they handled on this paper, and I don't really like it, so I went away from it. That's the back side, like it bled through. That's what the alcohol inks are good for, right? So there's my first sketchbook tour. I'm planning on doing more as I pop through that big stack that you guys have seen. And I love to, you know, catch inspiration from hard, real life things that are so pretty. And I tend to do that even when I'm doing my other videos of that. Like, look at that. That's somebody's art they put on a label. Pretty much surrounded by graphic art all the time, the people's creativity. So I will see you on the next one. Short and sweet. I'll say bye-bye.